Welcome to Topper Talk, your number one Western Kentucky athletics podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Moffitt, and I'm joined by co-host Tyler Bailey. Hilltopper Nation, whether it's happening on the hill or on the road, grab those red towels, stand up and cheer, because it's up next on Topper Talk. Welcome back, and thank you for downloading and listening to another episode of the Topper Talk podcast, the official podcast of the Red Towel Trust Collective. As always, feel free to follow us on all the social media platforms. Just search Topper Talk, you'll find us there. And this podcast is sponsored by the Fireman Moving Company. They are the official moving company of WKU Athletics. Not only can they be trusted to move all the coaches in and out of Western, but they can move you anywhere nationwide. The Fireman Moving Company is owned and operated by firemen and is founded by WKU alumni. If you're looking to move sometime soon, give them a call at 270-791-1755 and get yourself a free quote. And I promise you, like I always say, and I will continue saying, it'll be the best thing that you do if you have any moving needs anywhere, near or far, big or small. I promise you, let those guys do it for you. They're pros. As always, I've got Tyler here with me, man. We're going to jump into a Conference USA Tourney preview episode. Tyler, you ready to dive in?
Yeah, man. Let's get into it, boy.
But before we do, we've got to get into our Red Towel wrap-up, which catches us up with all the WKU athletics we've missed since we last recorded, and that is presented by our sponsor, Trent Bedding Company. So let's get a word from them and then jump in.
Don't forget your headboard, pillows, and your sheets. We got everything you need for a good night's sleep. Number one on the same check, Best of Bowling Green.
All right. Hey! Twins, full, queen and king, mattresses for anything. Come and pick it out and we can bring it to your house. Have you sleeping real good before the weekend's out. Trent Bedding. It's just like a mattress store. Hey.
Gosh, every time. So, the men's golf, they finished tied for 18th at the People's Championship final round, canceled due to weather. The baseball, they hosted Milwaukee and won 5-0 Friday, and then on Saturday they won 8-3 and lost 5-6 in 12 innings in the Saturday game, game 2. Then they won Sunday 11-7.
Yeah, the baseball tops are getting hot. They're winning some series now. Had some struggles earlier. Lost some games to UK, then West Virginia split that series, but now they're starting to crank out some wins and some runs. And I know we're going to be talking about a player that helped do that here a little bit later.
Softball, they beat New Mexico State 2-1 on Friday, then lost 0-9 Saturday, but won the series Sunday with 11-0 victory. The men's basketball, they lost to Liberty, sadly, 79-82, and women's basketball also lost to Liberty to a score of 77-84.
Yeah, those softball toppers, struggling to score with that 11-0 victory to put the series away. And again, they're kind of getting hot as well, getting towards the end of the out-of-conference slate, conference play coming up soon. So, or actually, that was in conference. Sorry, New Mexico State. Yeah, just winning their first conference series. And then basketball, we're not going to dive deep into the losses to Liberty on the men's and women's side. Both games were just kind of disappointing. Hate to see it. Don't want to end the season on the regular season on that note. But, conference tournament coming real soon. We can turn it around.
Moving on, tennis beat Eastern Illinois 7-0 in the 5th straight win.
Yeah, life in Bowling Green has been good so far for the tennis toppers because 5 straight wins, swept Eastern Illinois 7-0. Really heating up over there. We'll see if they can keep that up through the middle part of the season.
Conference USA awards were announced. Rodney Howard was named sixth player of the year. Don McHenry was named first team All-Conference USA. Tegan Moore was named to the All-Freshman team. Tyrone Marshall, Brandon Newman, and Rodney Howard were named as honorable mentions.
Yeah, friend of the podcast, Rodney Howard. Congratulations, 6th man of the year and honorable mention. Don McHenry, first teamer. I think we all saw that coming. He's kind of been in that player of the year conversation. Tegan Moore on the all freshman team. No surprise there. He's come on real strong. He's won Freshman of the Week twice. Spoiler alert. But yeah, just a real good, just some awards as the regular season has ended for basketball. Love to see that recognition for them.
Oh yeah, for sure. Softball's Katie Gardner won her second Conference USA Pitcher of the Week. Baseball's Brady Browning was named Conference USA Hitter of the Week, and baseball coach Raridan announced new field turf going down on the baseball infield.
Yeah, just more good diamond news. Katie Gardner just, kind of led us to some solid victories there. Just really kind of being the ace on the staff, her second Pitcher of the Week award early in the season. So really expecting big things from her the rest of the way. Second time we've had the Hitter of the Week. Last time it was Blake Cabell. This time it's Brady Browning. So we've got some guys that can bat around and hit some runs in for us. So love to see that. Different guys stepping up and just being great hitters. And then Coach Rarden announcing that field turf going down. So we've seen a lot of upgrades at the baseball facility lately. New chairs went in last year. There's been a new scoreboard. There's been new cameras for analytics put in. And now we've got new turf going down in the infield. So love to see those facility upgrades.
Women's basketball, Alexis Mead was named to the All-Defensive Team after leading the league in steals and was also named to the All-Conference USA second team.
Yeah, the women's basketball team may have been, into the season on a sour note, a little bit disappointing for how the regular season ended, but there's always a bright spot. And, Alexis Mead did lead the league in steals. We were tough defensively, even if we weren't winning a lot of games, we were a good defensive team. And she was named to that all defensive team and then named a second teamer in the all conference USA team. So congratulations to her. Like to see that recognition.
The Red Towel Trust announced a goal of 1,000 members at the $25 or higher level by the end of this year, which would be absolutely fantastic if we could do that.
Yeah, I mean, you have to aim high. I mean, Red Towel Trust, obviously there's a new executive director now, Nick Eulenhop. He was recently on another podcast and just really talked about just the influence that the collective has had over our student athletes, not only, just financially and what it's done for them and their families, but what it's done for the community. And then he announced that big goal, 1,000 members by the end of this year at the $25 or higher level. I mean, that's a huge goal, but we're going to start making some pushes towards that. Got a lot of good and fun, just exclusive stuff for members only that will be coming down the pipe. As we share that stuff, I feel like it's going to encourage and engage more people, more companies, just people that are going to want to join, or they're going to have that fear of missing out. So big stuff coming for the Red Towel Trust. And obviously we're glad to be a part of that. We're going to be right here with them.
WKU Track and Field announced a new signee, distance runner Ava Galloway.
Hey, yeah, if you sign to wear WKU, that red towel across your chest, we're gonna give you some shine here on the show, no matter what sport it is, non-revenue, Olympic, whatever it is. So welcome to the Hill, Ava Galloway.
And last but not least, WKU football spring camp started today.
Yeah, there was a really good press conference by Tyson Helton this morning. WKU Sports shared it to their YouTube channel. I shared that episode earlier today, so definitely check that out. Just a good 15-16 minutes of Tyson Helton talking about this team, what he's looking for, some of the position battles, specifically at the offensive line and in the secondary, and the obvious quarterback battle that we're going to have this spring and into fall. So just really good words from him. You're really excited about this team, the coaching staff, and just how everything's going to come together, and just competition, iron sharpens iron. So really excited for spring camp, pro day coming up. Just a lot of excitement on the Hill, even though we're in the off season. There's going to be some exciting football news in the real near future.
All right, and that concludes the Red Tail Wrap-Up, brought to you by the Trent Bedding Company. Moth, back to you.
Yeah, so this episode is, we're not going to recap the Liberty basketball games from last weekend. We, kind of touched on them in the Red Towel Wrap-Up. We lost both on the men's side and the women's side. The women, were leading after halftime, leading after three quarters, up by 7, and end up losing that game by 7. So just gave one up. And then the men's team, we just couldn't stop them from hitting timely threes, and unfortunately lost that game on the road. But it did not affect our Conference USA seeding. We're still going to Huntsville later this week for the Conference USA tournament. We're going to be the 3 seed. That tournament will be, like I said, in Huntsville. We're not in Frisco. We're not near that big curtain, that ominous curtain dividing the courts of that YMCA, star facility that it was. If you call that a conference tournament, I guess that was, so far away from the majority of our conference, except for those few Texas schools. Now we're going to be close to home, 2.5, 3 hours down the road, where I would expect a lot of Hilltopper fans to make that trip. It's going to be at the VBC Props Arena. The tournament runs this coming Tuesday through Saturday is when the championship game will be. Like I said, WKU does enter as the number 3 seed. We will open against the number 6 seed, New Mexico State, on Thursday. That game is at 9 p.m. It's on ESPN Plus. But the tournament will open on Tuesday, which is tomorrow as we're recording. This episode will come out Tuesday morning. But it opens with an 8-9, basically a play-in matchup of the 2 bottom teams in the conference right now, which are Jacksonville State and FIU. That is the Fighting Ray Harpers of Jacksonville State. That is Kiki Tandy, Jacksonville State, versus that smothering defense that FIU, that full court, just havoc defense they have. So Tyler, tell me about this opening round, this play-in game. What do you think about it? And, who do you think is going to win?
All right. So, a few hours ago, I would think Ray Harper and Kiki Tandy would run away with it. But I do think FIU's defensive efforts have stepped up. Plus, not to mention, if they get hot and they just keep on, hitting threes like they did against us, I think FIU's going to run away with this. Call this I wouldn't really call it an upset, but I think FIU's going to win this matchup.
Interesting. I'm I think FIU's a tough team. When we played them, to near the end of the season there, they didn't have their leading scorer, rebounder, passer, Arturo Dean. He did come back for the final game of the season, the regular season there, but they're a tough team, especially defensively. They led the nation in turnovers forced. They're just a really aggressive team. It's the other side of the ball offensively, where they're not always as efficient. They do have a lot of turnovers themselves. But then you have Jacksonville State. And I think we all know, who and what Ray Harper is as a tournament coach. We saw that firsthand when he took us to back-to-back Sunbelt Conference championships and went to the NCAA tournament, the last time we went to the NCAA tournament. So, I just have a hard time picking against him in this early round game. I'm not sure how far they'll be able to go, especially being that their win, on my paper at least, is going to put them against the number 1 seed, Sam Houston State. So that will be tough, but I'm not picking against Ray Harper in this first round game. I'm going different than you, but give me Jacksonville State to win that game and move forward to play Sam Houston. Now, the number 2 seed is Louisiana Tech. They open up versus number 7 seed MTSU. Now, for a majority of the conference season, it looked like Louisiana Tech was the best team in the conference. One of the last times they lost, I believe, was to us in Ruston, and then they just, went on a winning streak there to end the season. Meanwhile, MTSU, the 7 seed, really just had I would call a bad season. Just early on, non-conference, just didn't win a lot of games. Had some injuries they were dealing with. Didn't play very good away from their glass house. But then towards the end of the season, they did put together a little winning streak. They even threatened to potentially move up to the number 4 or even number 3 seed down the final stretch of the season before they lost a couple games. So, they're playing better lately, albeit not great for the season. They are the number 7 seed. Not really sure what to expect from them on a neutral court. They haven't been great on the road, have been pretty decent at home, just like pretty much all of Conference USA. If they're in the friendly confines of their home arena, they've got a good chance at winning, but this is a neutral site. Not really sure what to expect. So, Tyler, how are you feeling about this MTSU Louisiana Tech matchup, and who do you think wins?
Well, it ain't going to be MTSU. They just played La Tech as their final season finale game, and that ended 84-70. Earlier in the season, whenever they played them, they where's that game at? They lost. I can't really. They lost 60-52, and that was at home. Like I said, they're away from their glass house. I think it's going to be a sad ride back to Murfreesboro for them. I hope it is, because piss on them. La Tech's going to win this one handedly.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, I just don't think that MTSU is going to have enough firepower on the road or in a neutral site, rather, to overcome just the talent disparity that Louisiana Tech is going to have over them. I think they're too good. Player of the year, defensive player of the year, newcomer of the year, all on their roster. Louisiana Tech's real good. They're kind of a 1B in my mind. Sam Houston may be the 1 seed, but Tech is right there behind them, in my opinion. So I'm also penciling them in to beat Tech or MTSU and move on to the next round. So then looking back up to the top of the bracket, that play-in game winner, I've got Jacksonville State going against Sam Houston State. The number 1 seed. They are the number 1 seed for a reason. They did finish the regular season 13-3 in conference. I know you've got FIU moving on there. But I really think this game is intriguing just because Sam Houston has been the most steady team all season. Obviously 13-3, won the conference by a game. And FIU, like on your side of the bracket, FIU, that defense could make them a tough out. But if it's Jacksonville State, they kind of are a one-horse team, in my opinion. They're Kiki Tandy. And if you can slow him down, you've got a really good chance of beating them. So, either one of these teams, whoever's playing Sam Houston State, it's going to be an uphill battle. But, how do you got this matchup shaping up for you, Tyler?
All right, so if it's FIU, I think either way, Jack State or FIU, Sam Houston's going to win this matchup in particular. I mean, especially FIU. Sam Houston is just really good. They've been good home and they've been good away. So, granted, they are away from their friendly confines of their arena, but I don't know how many of their fans is going to travel to Huntsville, Alabama. I feel like if Jack State wins the first matchup, I think it could be a little bit of a closer game because, Jack State fans could travel and make it more of a home court advantage for them, or at least try to. But at the end of the day, I think Sam Houston's going to win this matchup. I wouldn't really say it's a blowout, but I could feel this one being kind of closer, but Sam Houston's going to win it.
Yeah, I'm not arguing with you. I think, no matter which team advances from that play-in to play Sam Houston, is going to be running into just, a well-rested team. They're going to have played the night before and then have to come in and play at 6:30 again the next day. So, less than 24 hours rest. It's going to be a tough game. Sam Houston's they're very solid, very consistent, a first-year coach, just good talent on their team, and they've just been winning games. They've just been doing what they need to do. They're good defensively. They're efficient offensively. And, I think they're definitely going to beat whoever advances to there. Now, looking at the Thursday games, the early game on Thursday is going to be that number 4 seed in Liberty facing the number 5 seed in UTEP. I think we all know that Liberty is undersized at this point, but they can get streaky, they can get hot. They've got several guys that can just absolutely fill it up. Meanwhile, on the other side of that matchup, UTEP was they were awful on the road this season. The last time we played them, they hadn't won a road game. I think they may have ended up sneaking one road game victory, maybe two. I didn't keep up with how many they did win, but as the 5 seed and they're on a neutral site, they're not at home. They do have a lot of young talent. When we ran down the superlative awards for WKU, our player first team freshman of the year, honorable mention, they had 3 guys on the all freshman team, including the freshman of the year. So they're a really good, talented, young team. But this Liberty team has got several seniors and just really streaky shooting, really playing good at this time of the season, which is what you want to be doing. And honestly, myself, I have a hard time seeing UTEP putting this together and pulling off this, slight upset. It's a 4-5, but they're not going to be favored to win this game, in my opinion. So, Tyler, who do you got winning this matchup?
See, like you said, this is another toss-up. Liberty, if they can get hot right at the right time, like right against us, especially Rhodes, I feel like Liberty could beat a lot of teams. UTEP, you're right. They won their last two away games against Liberty and Jacksonville State. They both won. But other than that, away from the friendly confines, they have lost. So I feel like Liberty is going to win this matchup and send UTEP back to Texas sad and pouty.
And then the second quarterfinal matchup there on Thursday is our hometown Hilltoppers, the number 3 seed, facing that number 6 seed, New Mexico State. This will be the third matchup this season of the Fighting Jordan Rawls. These teams did split the regular season games. The home team won both games. They won at New Mexico State. We won here in Diddle Arena. So this rubber match on a neutral floor could be pretty interesting, Tyler. How do you have it shaken out? Who wins?
All right. I don't think New Mexico State wins. I think Western Kentucky's going to get this problems that they're having. Hopefully get that 3-point defense picked up and figured out, because what I saw, or what I listened to earlier on Saturday, just infuriated me. So I think Western's going to pick it up. I think we're going to play this. We're going to start playing instead of just playing like one half a game really good. I feel like we're going to start getting into 2 halves and play a complete game, or at least I'm hoping so. And I think Western just destroys New Mexico State. Rawls in the first matchup, he didn't really do nothing. And then you turn around and look at it in the second game. I mean, I think he had a few points, especially that one. He scored at least a layup there in garbage time, right when the clock was ticking away. So I think Western ends their season on March 14th.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Even looking back at the first game we lost to them, that was the game, if I'm not mistaken, we had a 23-point lead, squandered away, let them come back and win. So, yeah, the second game at Diddle was a little bit more decisive. It was back and forth there for a little while, but then we were able to pull away. And, like you said, Jordan Rawls that last second, should have dribbled it out, but he went in and put the ball in, and Diddle Arena let him have it. So I don't see any chance of New Mexico State beating us here in the tournament. And, Jordan's not doing anything. We know what he's doing. We know what he's not doing. He's not going to lead that team to victory against us in this game. We're wearing red glasses, but I think both of us see Western Kentucky moving on. Now, moving on to the semifinals. Right now, both of us have it looking like Sam Houston State, the number 1 seed, is going to be facing the number 4 seed Liberty. And quite frankly, I think this is an intriguing matchup because both of these teams play a slower pace. We know that Liberty, like Steve Lutz has said, like we saw in person, when they're hitting threes, they're hard to beat. Sam Houston's going to have a decided size advantage. If they can exploit that and keep Liberty from getting hot from three, it's either team's game to win or lose, just depending on who can exploit the weakness and their strength against the other team. So, Tyler, how do you have this matchup if it plays out this way? Sam Houston versus Liberty. Who do you have winning this game?
Damn. Because you're right. I mean, if a team can play good 3-point defense, especially with the size advantage, I feel like Liberty, damn, this is tough. This is a tough one because Liberty, like they're averaging, I think they're on the season, they're 36% from 3-point range. And I know there's going to be upsets. I don't know if this is going to be one, though. I don't know. I feel like Liberty fans will travel. I'm going to go with Sam Houston winning this one. I just got that feeling. This is a hard one for me to choose, but damn. I just feel like Sam Houston's going to win it.
Yeah, Sam Houston, Sharpie for you. I'm going with Liberty. I think they're going to get hot at the right time. They played well to end the season. Won a couple games, and their shooting right now is on the uptick. They shot 40% from three against us. Were able to beat us. I'll see them not having any problem with UTEP. And I just think this matchup with Sam Houston in a slower paced game could be a low scoring game. Those guys, they're good moving without the ball. They set a lot of good screens. They've got several guys that can fill it up. I've got a good feeling. I think Liberty pulls off an upset. The first one, of this Conference USA tournament. And I think they advance to the final. Hopefully, that's what I've got penciled in. Then moving down to the bottom side of the bracket, where we got the number 2 Louisiana Tech team facing us, the number 3 WKU team. Now, obviously both of these games that we had this year were just a slugfest. They were very physical. The road team won both games. We won down in Ruston for the first time, since 1998, I think it was. Broke a long losing streak there on the road. Then La Tech came back and paid us back on the senior night blackout game and beat us in Ditto Arena. Daniel Bacho that Louisiana Tech has. He was named the conference newcomer of the year. Isaiah Crawford, he was the preseason player of the year. He ended up being the postseason player of the year as well. He was also named the defensive player of the year. And they're a really physical team. But I think one thing that we saw in the first matchup with this team is that if we can match their physicality and their intensity on defense, that we can beat them at their own game. And in my opinion, this game is going to come down to what we do with our 3-point defense. I think that's kind of been our Achilles heel here at the end of the season as we've gone on a 4-game losing streak. Every single game that we've lost, there has been a lopsided 3-point shooting advantage in favor of our opponents. If we're only making 2, 3, 4, and they're making 8, 9, 10, that's a big point disparity to overcome. And we don't, as a team, we don't want to get in a 3-point shooting contest with any of these teams. We've said since early in this season, the 3-point streak ended, that we're not a great 3-point shooting team. Now we have had games where we filled it up. We've shot well from the field. We've been efficient and had a high percentage, but that usually just comes in the natural flow of the game, not jacking up 30 of them and hoping to hit 15 to 20. That's not what we want to do. That's not what we need to do. We need to be a fast-paced, efficient, get the ball in the paint, have guys slashing. If this becomes a 3-point shooting contest, Our 3-point defense has shown time and time again that we can be locked down at times, but there also can be a lot of lapses in that rotation that allow teams to beat us. So I will be concerned about it. I do think WKU can correct it and overcome it. But Tyler, how do you see this potential matchup if it is Louisiana Tech and WKU in this other semifinal? How do you see it playing out and who wins?
All right, so you mentioned the 3-point defense. I heard Randy and House say like the last 4 or 5 games we played that the opposing teams are averaging like 44-45% 3-point percentage against us. Now, if you look back at the beginning of this season when our 3-point defense was locked down, I mean, we held Liberty to 20%, I believe, in the first game of at Western. And, I mean, we were holding teams at 20-30%. I don't know what changed. I don't know when that happened. But we definitely need to get that 3-point percentage back, because you're right. If we get, or 3-point defense percentage, because if we get in a 3-point shootout with any of these teams, it's going to be early bus ride home to Bowling Green, Kentucky, and I do not want to see that happen. Now moving on to La Tech, WKU. Red glasses. WKU's going to win this game, kind of like what we did against them at their place. We're going to out physical them. We're going to take it right at Batcho, right at Crawford, get them hopefully in foul trouble. The refs down there in Huntsville, hopefully they're better than what we get on the normal Saturday, Wednesday, Thursday games. They'll actually call it consistent instead of like what they did versus Liberty, where the first half they didn't call no fouls, second half it was a foulapalooza. So yeah, I see Western, like I said earlier, getting it together, firing on all cylinders right at the right time of the year, and reverse, kind of get payback for the loss we took up here at Diddle. So give me Hilltoppers on top.
Yeah, and then I think we have different finals. I think you had Sam Houston winning, right? I had Liberty. So we have different finals, but let's talk about them. Let's talk about who we think and why we think. So I've got Liberty advancing from the top of the bracket, 4 seed, and I've got Western Kentucky, the 3 seed. So the 1 and 2 in mine have been knocked off. Sam Houston and Louisiana Tech are gone. I've got Liberty and WKU. This is going to be the final on my bracket. That game will be on Saturday. It's at 8:30 p.m. It's on CBS Sports Network. I think it's going to be an interesting rematch. I think game 1 was a really good one at Diddle Arena. Like you said, we held them to a low 3-point shooting percentage. And just reminiscing back to that, the very first game of Conference USA play this year, I don't want to say we got lucky, but Liberty had a lot of wide open shots that game. They just didn't fall. They didn't go in. They weren't making shots for whatever reason, playing on the road, tired legs from playing our pace of play. I don't know what caused them to miss a lot of shots, but they didn't shoot how they can shoot and how they did shoot in our second matchup when they shot nearly 40% for the game. Just every time we were able to get close, they would hit a 3 and just keep that lead at a nice, arm's length distance away. So I really think this game is going to come down to 2 different things. One, can we play better defense, especially 3-point defense? Too many times in this regular season closing game at Lynchburg, we got caught over rotating, double teaming, and a quick pass or two to an open player on the wing or in the corner for just a wide open 3. I think we have to play better man-to-man defense, and I think we have to exploit the size difference and the advantage that we have with Babacar Faye and with Rodney Howard, and let both of those guys just be unstoppable. Maybe get some guys in foul trouble down low, being physical. So, I really, again, wearing red glasses, being a homer, admittedly, I think this Western team can go on a 3-game winning streak. We saw a 5-game winning streak just a few weeks ago. Some weird scheduling. I think we played 4 games now in 3 weeks, coming down the end of the season, and lost all of those. Albeit a couple of those, MTSU and FIU, to some questionable calls there at the end. But the other games we just lost, and we've got to figure it out. I think one thing we haven't talked about is Steve Lutz's ability as a tournament coach. The last 2 years, at Texas A&M Corpus Christi, a program that before he got there, I think had 5 wins. He was able to turn that roster over, rebuilt it from the transfer portal, made a run to the NCAA tournament in his first year, and did the same thing last year, and has brought a couple of those players here with him. Did the same thing, rebuilt this roster from the transfer portal, 9 new players of our 13 total on the roster. We've got some good upperclassmen. Obviously, Don McHenry just been solid, kind of that consistent hand all year. It's been a little bit slower these last couple of weeks, but I would expect him to pick that back up in tournament play. Tegan Moore has just been amazing these last few weeks on that all freshman team, has earned every bit of that. Future is bright for him. But I'm really excited for this game. If it does, shake out this way, and it's Liberty WKU. Both teams are going to know each other. It's not going to be a secret what either one of us was to do. It's just going to boil down to who can do it better. And, call me a homer, call me biased. I'll admit it. I'm not going to deny it. But I think WKU can pull this victory off and advance to the NCAA tournament for the first time in, what's it been, 11, 12 years now. So give me the Hilltoppers beating Liberty. And I know you've got Sam Houston, WKU. What do you think about that game potentially, and who wins?
All right, so Sam Houston, your 2 biggest threats are Lamar Wilkinson and Davon Barnes. And I think in the second game, let me look at it. Second game. No, first game. I'm sorry. When we lost by second game. Sorry, we lost by 4. There we lost by 2 at home. Yeah. They both, in both of them games, they both had someone coming off the bench. The second game, it was Hufner. In the first game, it was Boykins. In the second game, Hufner scored 18 points. In the first game, Boykins scored 17. I just don't see, and also McHenry, he scored 15. But in this game, at third place, we only shot 12 free throws. And at home, we only shot 11. We shot 12 of 17. We actually held them off the free throw line with our defense. Now, granted, we lost both games, but I feel like we can shut down Doumbia and Barnes, Boykin, Wilkerson. I feel like you shut down them 2 players, Wilkerson and Barnes, and at least there you kind of have a chance. Now against Liberty, Shiloh Robertson, that boy had a career high season against us, or a career high game against us. I kind of feel like we kind of match up a little bit better with the Bearcats. I feel like they are physical, and we can definitely match up with them. They actually got some height in the paint, which, I think if you put Rodney in there, Rodney's going to have a field day with Doumbia. And I feel like Western's going to win the Conference USA tournament, because you're right. We did mention Lutz's tournament record, and I feel like that needs to be said, because if he can get these guys, kind of like what Ray Harper had to do back when it was 4 games in 4 days, or that 5 games in 5 days. Anyway, whenever McDonald got fired, that was an embarrassment. But Ray Harper did amazing things there, and I feel like Lutz can do the same thing, because he's he wants his team to play lockdown defense, which, last few weeks he's been talking about, well, we ain't had good practices. I mean, yes, you got practice good to be able to have that translate into games, but I feel like he can get these guys going good because he brought some of his players with him and he knows what to do or what to say to get them going. And I feel like Don McHenry, he's going to have a field day in Conference USA tournament. Then you throw in Tegan Moore. I mean, if Rodney can have some of his more dominant games like he was whenever he was scoring 18, 16 points in a game, and not to mention you throw in Brandon Newman, who's a threat from 3-point land or mid range or getting to the rim, getting fouled, and getting an and one. I mean, you throw in Lander, Dante Allen could get hot, and I feel like Western could steamroll through this tournament. I mean, we were picked second in the preseason, with Liberty being one. Both teams have kind of underachieved, but I feel like we could turn it up and show out, make some noise, and move on to the big dance, to the NCAA tournament, and hopefully get a favorable matchup there. I mean, I'm sure it'd kind of be a joke like it was back whenever we went and played Kansas and then had to play Kentucky in 2012. By the way, we should have won that game versus Kansas. George Fant was robbed. That was bullcrap. And I will say that till the day I die. He did not foul that boy all them times. It was garbage. Western should have won that and been the first 16 seed to ever upset a 1 seed. We were robbed. Moving on though. I just feel like Western, it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row, right? Or 3 times in one season. Sam Houston's beat us 2 times. That means that 3rd time, it's going to be our matchup. I would take us favored to win that game 9 times out of 10. And the one time, I say it'd probably go into overtime. We beat them in overtime. Red glasses. But yeah, I feel like Western's going to match up with them, be physical with them, get to the lane, draw some fouls, and hopefully do what we do to La Tech. Just push them around and just dominate it and exert our dominance on them. And that's why I think Western's going to win the tournament.
Hey, tops win, you win, we lit, baby. I'm not mad at you. So both of us have the men's team pulling out the victory in their bracket. I think, we can definitely do that. We have the coaching to do that. We've both talked about Steve Lutz and his tournament coaching record. I think we have the players to do. We have several guys on any given night that can step up and be our leader. And I think one thing neither of us talked about was the depth that we play. We, consistently play 9-10 guys. And in this tournament style, playing, 3-4 games in 3-4 days, depending on what seed you are, that depth can become an issue when you're playing back-to-back games multiple times. If you don't have the depth, if your rotation is only 5, 6, 7 deep, legs start getting tired, shots stop falling, free throws start missing, and some underdogs pull out some victories. So I really feel good about this Western team. Now, we're not going to talk a lot about the women's side of the bracket. They will be playing earlier in the day in the same location. I think, granted, it's not a foregone conclusion, but Middle Tennessee, their women's team, just as they have for the last several years, they've just been a dominant team. On the women's side, they went undefeated this year in conference. I think their biggest threat on that side of the ball is Liberty. The WKU women slide in as a 7 seed. So it's going to be an uphill battle for the Lady Toppers to try to make some noise, get some upsets, and make a run at a title there on the women's side. But, ultimately that kind of comes down to MTSU and then everybody else on the women's side. So Tyler, what do you think about the women's side? I know there's not really a lot to talk about on that side of the bracket, in my opinion. I think it's going to be a foregone conclusion. But what about the women's side?
I think Sam Houston's going to be a dark horse. Their conference record's 2-14. I feel like they may come out of nowhere. Sam Houston's 2-14, WKU 6-10. They're tied with New Mexico State. La Tech, Jack State 7-9. Liberty and FIU's both 11-5, and of course MTSU 16-0. And yeah, dude, I'm kind of like you. MTSU's 26-4, Sam Houston 7-21. Western falls in there at 15-16. I mean, I feel like MTSU's easily going to run away with this. I hate to say it because I don't like anything Blue Raiders, and I hate the only thing good in Murfreesboro is Toots. And when we went there twice, and whenever we went down there that basketball game. So yeah, I think MTSU is going to run away with this one easily.
Now moving on to, I guess, both of our final thoughts. One, hadn't mentioned this either on the podcast or really on our Twitter account, but I will be down in Huntsville. We were both granted some media credentials, so we will be down there in a media capacity, enjoying and taking this game in. I'll be there representing us. If we make it to the title game, I expect Tyler to slide down there and join us. Looking forward to seeing a lot of red down there. Again, this is as close as we've been since the tournament, conference tournament was in Birmingham. It feels like a decade ago now. And then before that in Hot Springs. So it's going to be nice to be just right down the road, being able to watch the Hilltoppers play. I'll be down there Wednesday night, looking forward to meeting up with some familiar faces. I'm sure I'll see a lot more people that I'm not even, aware that are going to be down there, but, catching the late game Wednesday night, then watching the women play Thursday. And then, Liberty game, then the Western game that night. So be cheering on those Hilltoppers, just ready to be there with a lot of, rowdy fans. I expect us and definitely MTSU, like you said. I expect Liberty to travel really well, possibly Louisiana Tech. I think they will travel as well. And not really sure about UTEP, Sam Houston, New Mexico State. That is quite a trip for them. Obviously Jacksonville should have a decided home advantage, but when you're the 8th seed and Kiki Tandy's all you got, I'm not really sure how strong their crowd's going to be, but just looking forward to a new experience. Just a conference championship being somewhere close where everybody can really attend, really, if you'd like to, especially the Hilltopper Red, the Hilltopper Faithful. And I think both of us agree, even though right now a 4-game losing streak coming into the tournament doesn't sit well with anybody. Once you get into a tournament style play, win or go home, I think coaches tighten up rotations, put a little bit more focus and emphasis on what we do well, what the other teams don't do well, and just try to exploit those mismatches and those matchups that are going to favor us. So I'm really excited for this team and this tournament, and just cheering on the Hilltoppers to go as far as they can, both on the women's and the men's side. I definitely think we can make some noise and surprise some people. I think every game is going to be tough. There's not going to be any gimmies. We've seen a lot of parity in Conference USA this year. Home teams have been winning, road teams have been losing. Well, guess what? It's neutral now. So, let's find out what's going to happen. Those seedings might mean nothing on a neutral court. So, we'll see what that backdrop's going to look like in the arena, just how teams are going to play in that environment, and who's going to bring the crowd to support their team to a victory. So I'm excited for it and can't wait to be there Wednesday night and, just be tweeting about everything going on. So Tyler, hit us with your final words and take us out.
All right. To quote a movie that is near and dear to my heart, I'm going to quote Bluto from Animal House. And did America give up when the Nazis bombed Pearl Harbor? No, we did not. And I don't feel like the players are ready to give up. You're right. We do have a good rotation of players that we play. If McHenry or Landers is showing a little fatigue, coach ain't scared to go to the bench and throw in any help to get that. Jack has gone in, and he may not score a lot, but he seems like he can find the open man. And same thing with Dante Allen or Rodney, Babacar. It don't matter. Coach is willing to go to the bench, and this is when I think he's going to shine. This is when he gets his creative juices flowing. And I feel like we're going to go on a big run here. Because you're right, no one's happy with a 4-game losing streak, especially going into conference tournament when you're supposed to be playing your best basketball. I'd throw everything out the windows. I think coach is going to have his team going right. I feel like this is where he's going to continue his legacy from his last school, and we're going to go to the NCAA tournament for the first time in a long time, and I'm excited for it. And to kind of echo what you said, it's good to be out of Texas for the conference tournament. I didn't like playing in Texas. I didn't really like playing in Birmingham whenever it was down there, just because UAB was right there, and I can't stand UAB. Blazers suck. But I do remember watching them games on TV, and Chris Harrison Docs. I remember watching him play down there. It was a good game, but it seemed like a good place to play. I just don't like playing there whenever UAB's in the conference with us. But I'm not going to give up on this team, and I don't expect any other true fan to give up on this team, because we're hilltoppers. We like climbing that hill. We don't mind a challenge. Some teams like to give up. Some fans, whenever of other teams, whenever their team ain't winning or scoring right, they're ready to throw in the towel. Well, I don't feel like we are built that way. I feel like we embrace that challenge, climb that hill one day at a time. It's always good to wake up as a Hilltopper fan. And with that, I will say, go Tops. Go down there, kick some ass in conference tournament. Let's make some noise. And Moff, who has it better than us?
Nobody. You know it.
Nobody. Go Tops.
Go Tops. Later, guys.